Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about how to make a SMART goal. The first step is to figure out what the letters of SMART actually mean. So S is for specific, M is for measurable, A is for attainable, R is for rigorous, and T is for time-bound. We're going to dive a little bit more into each one of these in a second, but it's important to understand why we actually make goals with these in mind. If you include all of these different elements, your goals are much more likely to actually make it to the end and actually see it through and attain them. So let's figure out what these actually mean. The specific piece, you need to actually state exactly what you hope to accomplish. It has to be narrowed down so that it's something clear and actually manageable for you. It can't be some general, super lofty goal that doesn't have any tangible specifics. And it can't be overwhelming. As we move through, you can see that linked out in this presentation are additional helpful videos that you can click on to help you get a little bit more about each one of these subtopics. And we're going to go through an example once I run through each letter. Measurable. This is something where you really have to come up with some kind of number where you're going to evaluate how it's going. It should be something that you can collect evidence for, not just something that you can reflect on along the way to think, oh, I think it's going okay, or no, I don't think I'm really meeting it. You need to have something that you can actually measure. So part of it is to figure out where you currently are, where you want to end up, and then figure out how you can break that into some manageable pieces. To be attainable, it has to be possible for you. Each person is their own individual and they have different skills and different strengths and areas of growth. So it's important that you craft a goal that's attainable for you. Don't make it around something that you know is never ever going to happen, but really make it something that's going to push you, but you know you can eventually attain it. And it has to be reasonable to be done in the time frame that you actually pick. Rigorous, this kind of goes along with attainable. It's where you have to push yourself. Don't pick something where you've already gotten it in the past, so it's not something that's going to push you to better yourself. Try to make it beyond your normal. For example, if you're used to, getting a certain kind of grade or being able to do something, don't just make it that so that you don't have to try and push yourself. And finally, time-bound. This has a very specific date. If you don't put a date on it, then you're more likely to push it farther and farther into the future and never actually accomplish it. So please come up with a specific date. And it should be timely. You shouldn't make it months in advance if it's really only going to take you a week to accomplish. Once you've kind of crafted your SMART goal, then the key part here is to develop action steps. Those are the smaller measurable things that you can actually do to get to that goal. So this includes things like, what are those small substeps going to be? How are you going to accomplish them? And when is that actually going to happen? Because those are going to be the smaller checkpoints that you can use to measure your progress. There have been goals created as an example for each one of the different grade levels to try to help you. I'm just going to click on the 10th grade one as an example. So in this case, a 10th grader might write something like, by June 9th, I will identify 3 careers of interest and research 3 possible paths for attaining each career. As a 10th grader, it's important to start thinking about what you might be interested in. So how would you break this down? How would I actually know that it's each one of these things? Well, it's specific because it's telling you exactly what you're going to do. It's measurable because it has 3 colleges and 3 pathways. This is attainable because it's something I could be doing during my normal time in Goal Block. It's rigorous because I've never done anything like this before, and I will be able to manage my time, hopefully, to be able to attain this goal by using Goal Block time well. And it's time-bound because it has the end date goal of June 9th. I have set up several action steps to hopefully get there. So this includes things like using career cruising to help identify different majors. It has things like researching colleges and coming up with 3 colleges, figuring out what their entrance requirements are and their admission requirements, sharing my results with my family, and also reviewing things like my test scores and my ACT entrance requirements. I have listed in the middle column when I plan to do these things. You can see that I've chunked them out throughout the year, from the first being in October all the way to the last being in February, March, and April. And then I also have a how element here on the right. So it has things like I'm going to be working with the counselors if I need. I'm going to be using my Gold Block mentor for support. I'm going to be sharing my goals with my family and keeping them updated. And lastly, I also have who's going to help me. As I just mentioned, this can include my parents, my counselor, my Gold Block teacher, and so on. In the templates that we provided you, we've given you additional goals as options that you can choose from. Part of a goal is also reflecting. So one of the expectations that you will have in Gold Block is that you continually monitor and reflect on how well your SMART goal is moving along at the time frame that you had set out. And there's some sample leads here at the bottom to help you get started. So your task is now going to be to craft your own SMART goal around what you think you need to do. There is a template provided to you. Your teacher will have hard copies if you prefer to write. Otherwise, we have an electronic template. When you click on it, you'll be prompted to make a copy so that that one is your own. It will look just like the example that I showed you. It has the elements of the SMART goal at the top, and you just go through and type. If you're struggling with a specific subsection, there are smaller videos linked out throughout the way to help you, as well as those grade-specific examples that I mentioned before. Your teacher, as I mentioned, will be checking in on you for these SMART goals to make sure that they actually hit all of the elements, as well as checking in with you when you're doing those daily reflections. Okay, it's time to get to work.